Welcome back. Video 5. Do you know, one of the biggest impacts on my life was realizing just how important self-care is to a man. You know, I kind of knew about health and fitness and all that kind of stuff, but over the 20 odd years I've been a midwife, I managed to get my weight up to 28 stone. And you know, that takes some doing to get that big. And throughout the whole of my life, I spent loads of time yo-yoing in terms of my diet and health related stuff, from being a very sporty teenager playing football, rugby, cricket, table tennis for the county, all that kind of stuff, to really being sedentary, to really, you know, not really engaging in my own well-being. Now, coupled with that, I got a diagnosis of sleep apnea and wear a machine at night, which I probably don't need now but really enjoy. So along with that, drinking lots of alcohol, smoking, all of that kind of stuff. I didn't realize just how important my own biochemistry was to feeling good. And when it comes to you being ready on that day, when it comes to you being fully in possession of yourself, being able to offer yourself your presence to her. We've covered lots about this on this program, but self-care and being in the best physical shape that you can be before she gives birth is important. Now, we've said before that the hormone that's key when it comes to this is testosterone. Do you know, we live in a time when the testosterone of those men who should be at their peak between 25, 28, maybe early 30s, is at its all-time low. We have lower testosterone amongst men than we've ever had. Now, there are loads of reasons for that. There's estrogen in our factory farm chicken. There's estrogen imitating hormones in our water. Now, these estrogen imitating hormones inhibit testosterone in our bodies. They make it harder for us to stimulate the growth of testosterone in our physique. Now, we have to stimulate it. The other thing to bear in mind is that when you get to my age, your ability to stimulate testosterone is halved. So you have to work harder at stimulating testosterone. Studies that are done amongst men who report depression show almost universally low testosterone levels. As I started to discover this, a couple of things happened. First of all, I decided that I needed to lose weight. My 6-year-old adopted son sat on my lap and he looked at me with wide open, kind, loving eyes, and he said, "Dad, were you born fat?" Now that sent me cut like a knife, and it sent me on a journey to discover what the science was around weight loss. And you know, my usual mantra, you've heard it lots of times, is believe nothing, test everything, right? So I got hold of some literature about low carb eating, and I started to eat in a low carb fashion, less than 20 grams of carb a day, lots of natural fats, moderate proteins. And the transformation for me in my experience was amazing. Within a week and a half, my energy levels had gone up, my weight was falling off. You know, my waist measurement went from 56 to 42 in a year and a half. Alongside that, I was smoking. I started to vape. Now, vaping in the context of smoking reduces the harm to us as human beings by 98%. It has a zero impact upon air quality, and it wasn't long before smoking just vanished before me. All along, I was experiencing increases in mood, increases in motivation, increases in a sense of direction. Now, men with low testosterone levels have various symptoms. One is lethargy. One is not being able to focus on a goal. One is just a deep sense of dissatisfaction with life. It's a chemical thing at its base. Don't get me wrong, there will be meaning making involved. You will have stories if you're in this kind of situation that justify the way you're being. But underneath it all is a physiological phenomena. Your testosterone could be low. how can you find out whether your testosterone's low without a blood test? Obviously, a blood test would certainly give you the information you need. But there are other signs and symptoms of low testosterone. Here's a few. If when you sweat, your sweat doesn't smell, if you don't smell like a man when you're sweaty, your testosterone could be low. If you're not waking up 2 or 3 mornings a week with a stonking erection, you just wake up with it, that can be an indication that your testosterone is low. If you're feeling those feelings of what you might label depression, what you might label as aimlessness, if you get on the sofa at night and you can't be asked to get off it, these can be signs of low testosterone. This is a bit personal, but if you're wanking on a regular basis, 2 or 3, 4 times a week, nothing wrong with that, by the way, it's up to you, your testosterone levels could be low. I think it's a good idea, if you have any concerns about your testosterone levels, about how you're feeling, to check in with your GP, have a chat with your GP, and he or she will recommend a way forward. I've got a few recommendations for the kinds of activities that will increase your testosterone levels and therefore your vitality for life, your ability to feel good, your ability to set a direction in your life with some kind of purpose. The first recommendation is to set a direction in your life, in an area of your life. I'm going to give you an exercise at the end where I ask you to pick an area of your life where you've been struggling. You've almost certainly spoke to her about it at one level. Pick that area. It could be smoking, could be weight loss, could be a change in your job, could be something that you've been kind of whinging about, really. And take massive action in that area. Don't tell her about it and don't look for praise. Just decide what it is you want and then start to take steps towards it. You know, a great way to do that is to imagine what your life will be like when it's been achieved. Think of a specific place you'll be, what you'll see, what you'll hear, how you'll feel. Just see yourself in that future place. Step into yourself in that future place and hear and feel and see all that's going on around you. And then work back from that experience to the very next physical step that you need to take you there. That will generate a bit of an action plan. That's going to be exercise number 1 at the end. So first thing, to stimulate testosterone, make a move in a certain direction. Do it with purpose. Purposeful activity, goal setting, overcoming challenges raises testosterone. It's no surprise that something like 90% of extreme sports are done by men. First thing you can do. Second thing is measure your waist. You know, if your waist is over 35 inches, and mine is at the minute, but if it's over 35 inches, the fat above 35 inches is producing estrogen imitating hormones. And estrogen will inhibit testosterone. So lose weight. You know, you can contact me about what I've done. I'll post some links on low carb eating. Make a start. Start a test, an experiment. You know, believe nothing, test everything. So that's 2 things you can do: set direction and lose weight if need to. The other thing is your alcohol intake. Alcohol inhibits testosterone production, without a doubt. When I started to lose weight, I shifted from mainly lager to drinking spirits. You know, Jack Daniels every now and again, almost 0 carbs, gave me the same buzz that I got from alcohol. Your diet. There are certain foods that will lend themselves to you raising your testosterone. And again, there's a PDF link that outlines some of those food choices. And I will put links to a blog or 2 that I can recommend because I've used them. So look at your diet. The other thing, which is a really big thing and was for me, is your sleep pattern. You know, if you're not getting between 7.5 hours to 8.5 hours of sleep consistently, You need to look at enhancing your sleep patterns, because sleep is the best way to recuperate your testosterone levels. It's no surprise to me that those early hours of the morning between 3 and 7 are when testosterone are at their peak. It's why we get those erections, right? Good sleep. Set a direction, lose some weight, look at your diet, get some sleep. If you're smoking, there's no evidence to suggest it reduces testosterone levels, but it does have other impacts on your life. And I will post a link to some vaping stuff as well. Exercise. Now, we pretty much been led to believe that exercise is really important when it comes to weight loss. Turns out that's probably not true. Cardiovascular exercise is good for overall well-being, without a doubt. Cardiovascular strength is important. But when it comes to weight loss, it's strength building. And when it comes to building testosterone, it's building strength. So seek to build in some lifting into your lifestyle. For me, I have a kettlebell that sits in my room, and at least 4 times a week, I sling the kettlebell. You know, it's the ideal kind of exercise that raises testosterone and leads to fat loss, stimulates the large muscle groups. The other thing to note about testosterone stimulating exercise is it's intense over a short period. That's the kind of exercise that you want to pursue. You've got loads in the PDF that I'm going to send you about the stuff we've spoken about, and you can pursue it if you want to with further reading. There's enough there to get you going and to get you thinking about your testosterone levels and how you can improve them. And my motivation for all of this self-care stuff is that it puts you in the best position to be present when she goes into labor, into the birthing process. You are going to have almost certainly an amygdala response. You remember the 4 F's? And being in the best shape that you can be in that moment will help you to modulate that fight or flight response. Along with that, I'm going to give you another exercise this week, which is designed to place you back in your body, if you like. There is such a tendency for us to get lost in our thinking. Do you remember the last video spoke about how we create reality on the inside and then assume that it's the same on the outside when we've created it? We can get lost in our thinking and kind of be cut off from our body. So I've got an exercise for you this week that will kind of bring you back to your body, being present with yourself so that you can create that sense of felt connection with her. 2 exercises then this week. First one, pick an area of your life that you've been moaning about, that you've been whinging about. You probably have spoken to her about it and you've not really taken any action. It could be smoking, could be drinking, could be something about your work, could be a project that you haven't started. And I want you to take massive action in that area. Take 1, 2, or 3 steps that move you towards achieving whatever it is you've been saying you want to achieve. Don't tell her you're going to do it. Don't look for praise. Take massive action in that area. Exercise 1. Exercise 2 is a breathing exercise. Now I'm going to ask you to do it for 5 minutes every day until the baby's born. That's it, just 5 minutes. It involves you taking a deep sitting comfortably, taking a deep breath in, your abdomen expands. Now if you're breathing really deeply, those males of the species will feel their bollocks bulge. You'll feel a sensation in your groin. So take a deep breath in on a count to 10 and out. So in, so that's in through your nose and on the inside count to 10 and out through your mouth. For 5 minutes, set your timer, count the breaths. So on the in-breath, 1, out-breath, in-breath, 2, out breath. Get that sensation in your bollocks each time, and maintain the count for 10 minutes. When you get to 10, you just start again at 1. Now, when you find yourself distracted from the count, just notice that, notice what thoughts came up, and then come back to your breathing. It is important that you do this for 5 minutes, and it is important that you do it for every day until the baby's born. This is going to be pretty useful to you when you're in that situation in the birth room where you're tempted to be distracted by the intensity of any emotional response you're having. It will locate you back in your body. But like everything, it takes commitment. It takes you doing it every day.